Stop. Before you open your mouth to defend yourself, just stop. Because the second you start explaining, something happens that nobody ever told you about. You lose. Not the argument, not the debate. You lose their respect. And the scary part is, you lose it quietly, slowly, without even knowing it is happening. I am going to show you exactly why this happens, and I am going to show you something so powerful, so different, that by the end of this video, you will never feel the need to explain yourself to anyone ever again. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a moment where someone said something that felt unfair, something that was not even true, and your whole body just wanted to fight back, to talk, to explain, to make them see the truth? That feeling right there, that burning need to be understood, that is the trap. And almost every single person alive falls into it every single day. Let us talk about why. Think about when you were a little kid. When a grown-up said you did something wrong, what did you do? You explained yourself. It was not me. He started it. I did not mean to. You did that because, as a child, explaining yourself was how you stayed safe. It was how you avoided getting in trouble. It was how you made the big people feel okay about you. And it worked, so your brain locked that in. Deep inside, explain yourself, survive, feel safe. You did it so many times that now, 20, 30, 40 years later, you still do it, automatically, without thinking. Someone says something at work. That was your mistake. Your brain fires, your chest gets tight, your mouth opens. Actually, it was not my fault, because the deadline was moved and the file was missing, and I told John 3 times, and the system crashed, and nobody told me, and I was doing my best, and you do not even realize you are doing it. But here is what the people around you are actually seeing. They do not hear your reasons. They feel your panic. They see someone who needs to be understood, someone who is scared of being judged, someone who cannot sit still with discomfort. And quietly, without saying a word, something inside them shifts. The respect starts to drain. Here's the thing nobody talks about. When someone throws something at you, an insult, an accusation, a little dig, they are not always looking for the truth. A lot of the time they are looking for something else. They want to see how you react. They want to know if they can shake you. And when you start explaining, when you start listing your reasons like you are standing in a courtroom, you answer that question for them. You say yes. Yes, you can shake me. You just handed them a piece of power that they did not even have before you opened your mouth. Let me give you a simple picture to help you see this. Imagine a small dog barking at a big lion. Does the lion turn around, sit down, and start explaining himself to the dog? No. The lion keeps walking. Not because the lion is cold, not because the lion does not care, because the lion knows exactly who he is. And that deep, settled, quiet knowing inside the lion is what makes him powerful. The moment you start defending yourself, you are telling everyone watching that you are not sure who you are. You are asking them to confirm that you are okay. And people feel that every single time. Now here is where everything flips. Imagine this. Someone looks at you and says something mean, something unfair, something that would normally light a fire inside your chest. And you do nothing. You do not frown. You do not argue. You do not smile nervously and look away. You just look at them, calm, still, like a quiet lake on a morning with no wind. And you let the silence sit there. 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5. Do you know what happens inside the other person during those 5 seconds? Panic. Their brain starts spinning. Did they hear me? Are they upset? Why are they not reacting? What is this person thinking? Did I go too far? Should I take it back? They start to feel the full weight of what they just said, because you are not carrying it for them. You handed it right back without a single word. That silence is not empty. That silence is loud. That silence is one of the most powerful things a human being can use in a moment of conflict. Most people have never experienced that kind of stillness from another person. It surprises them, it unsettles them, and somewhere deep inside, it makes them respect you. Because only someone who is completely okay with who they are can sit in that fire without running. I want to tell you a short story. I once knew a guy, let us call him Marcus. Marcus was the kind of person who never seemed rattled. You could say the most cutting thing to him, and he would look at you with this calm, almost bored expression, and then say something that made the whole room laugh. Not in a mean way, just easy, light, like nothing could touch him. One day, someone in a big meeting accused him in front of everyone of not doing his job. It was unfair. Everyone in that room knew it was unfair. And here is what I expected Marcus to do. I expected him to defend himself, list the evidence, tell everyone what really happened. Instead, Marcus looked at the person calmly, nodded slowly, and said very quietly, "That is an interesting perspective." And then he went back to his notes. The room went completely silent. The person who made the accusation suddenly looked small. They looked silly. They looked like they had just thrown a punch at the open air and stumbled forward. After the meeting, I pulled Marcus aside and said, "How do you do that? Does it not bother you?" He said something I have never forgotten. He said the only time their words can hurt me is if I pick them up. I just do not pick them up. That is it. That is the whole thing. You do not have to pick up what people throw at you. So how do you actually do this? Let us get practical. The first one is called the calm agreement. When someone criticizes you, instead of defending yourself, you simply agree with the part that is true and say nothing else. They say you were late. You say you are, right, I was late. That is it. No reason, no excuse, no story about the traffic or the alarm or the terrible morning you had. Just, you are right, I was. And then, silence. This does something powerful to the person who came at you. They were expecting a fight. They were ready to catch your excuses and tear them apart one by one. When you agree, you take the ball completely out of the game. Now they are standing there with all their energy and nowhere to put it. And you look like the most confident person in the room, because only someone who is truly at peace with themselves can admit something without shame. The second one is called the question flip. When someone asks you a loaded question, a question designed to make you feel small, you do not answer it. You ask a question back. They say, "Why do you always make everything about you?" You say, "What made you feel that way?" Now, suddenly we are not talking about you anymore. We are talking about them, their feelings, their reaction, their experience. You move the spotlight without being rude, without being aggressive. You are simply curious. And curiosity is one of the most powerful and disarming things in human conversation. The third one is called the light laugh. When someone tries to stick a label on you to make you feel bad, you do not fight the label. You do not accept it either. You smile lightly and you play with it. They say you are so arrogant. You say, "I prefer the word confident, but I will start working on humility first thing tomorrow morning." Flat face, tiny smile, move on. You showed them the accusation did not land. You showed them you are comfortable enough with yourself to make it light. You showed them you are not scared. That is the energy of someone who does not need anyone's approval to feel good about who they are. Now, let me tell you the deeper truth, the real one that sits underneath all of this. You know why it actually hurts when someone criticizes you? It is not because they are wrong. It is because a small, quiet part of you wonders if they might be right. Think about this. If someone walked up to you right now and said you have purple ears, would you get upset? Would you defend yourself? No. You would think they were out of their mind. You would laugh and walk away. Because you know your ears are not purple. It is not even a question in your mind. But when someone says you are selfish, and you feel that hot flush of anger and that desperate need to argue back, that tells you something. That is a wound already living inside you. The defense is not about them. It is about you. And this is the most important part of this entire video, so please stay with me. The ultimate way to stop explaining yourself is not a technique. It is not a trick. It is doing the deep work of knowing yourself so well that when someone throws a word at you, it does not land the same way, because you have already looked at that part of yourself. You have already sat with it honestly. You have already made peace with it. When you know you can be selfish sometimes, and you have accepted that as part of being human and you are working on it, then someone calling you selfish becomes information. Not an attack, just information. When you know you make mistakes, and you are okay with that, then someone pointing out your mistake becomes a simple conversation, not a trial. The person who has nothing left to hide is the person no one can truly hurt, not because they are perfect, but because they are honest with themselves. Here is something they never say out loud about people who explain themselves too much. It gets exhausting to be around them. And I do not mean that in a cruel way. I mean it completely honestly. When someone over-explains all the time, when they constantly need you to understand their side, when every little misunderstanding turns into a long conversation about their intentions, it drains the people around them. Not because those people are cold or mean, but because it puts a job on them. The job of making you feel okay. And that is a heavy job to carry for someone else day after day. But the people who never need that from you, the people who are just settled and calm and present, those people are incredibly easy to be around. There is no emotional work required just to stand next to them. And this is one of the biggest secrets of real charisma that no one talks about. Charisma is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is not about being the funniest or the most clever. Charisma is about being so okay with yourself that being around you feels like rest. When you stop explaining, when you stop needing reassurance, when you stop performing for everyone watching, the people around you exhale. They relax, they open up, because they feel safe around someone who is safe within themselves. So here is what I want you to do starting today. For the next 7 days, I want you to play one game. Call it the no defense game. Every single time you feel that urge to explain yourself, you pause. You take one slow breath. And instead of explaining, you either say nothing at all or you say the simplest version of the truth with no reasons attached. You are late. Yes, I was late. You made a mistake. Yes, I did. Someone misunderstands you. You let them. You sit in the discomfort of not fixing their picture of you. It will feel terrible at first. Your mind will scream at you, but they do not understand. But I need them to see the truth. But what if they think badly of me? Let that voice scream. Watch it. Do not feed it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is something you have probably been looking for a very long time. A version of you that does not need the world's permission to feel okay. A version of you that is solid, grounded, real. People feel that kind of person before they even speak. People are pulled toward that kind of energy without knowing why. Not because it is a trick, but because it is rare. It is honest. It is powerful in the deepest and most quiet way possible. The world is completely full of people who explain, who justify, who work every day to be understood. And the world is starving for people who simply are. People who know what they stand for. People who do not fall apart when questioned. People who can sit in the uncomfortable fire without needing to put it out immediately. That person can be you. It starts with one moment. One situation where you choose stillness over defense. One time where you look someone in the eye, say nothing, and feel your own power return to you quietly. Try it once, just once, and see what happens. If this video hit something inside you, if it touched a place that has been uncomfortable for a long time, then you already know you needed to hear it. Come back. There is more where this came from.